Hello and welcome to another episode of the Courtright Cast. I am Alex Courtright, your host, and this is episode 3. We are already on episode 3. Can you believe that? We are chugging along at light speed, pretty much, like just shooting right up. The sky is the limit, right? Anyway, it is going pretty well. I am enjoying it so far, so I will say that. I've actually got some new podcasting studio-esque equipment on the way. It is arriving at my house sometime this week, so unfortunately, I'm not going to have any changes implemented into this week's videos, but in the next week, things might be sprucing up, might be looking a little better, so look out for that. Anyway, jumping into today's show, oh my god, dude, people annoy me. I'll just say it. You know, I'm done trying to be calm, docile, unabrasive, because it's so hard to watch the way that people act and the things that they say and not have a little bit of something to say, especially when you've got somewhere like this to dump it. So oh my god, the conversation around the Chris's of Hollywood. You guys know what I'm talking about. Christopher Evans, Christopher Pine, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt. I know there are a lot of jokes that go around. There's a conversation that goes around on who's the best Chris and who's the worst Chris, etc. And you know what? That's fine. But what I'm not okay with is the fact that my boy, Chris Pratt, is always getting the short end of the stick. And whenever he says something or posts something online, the silliest crap, people go out and say that Chris Pratt is the worst Chris. They call him problematic. They call him, oh my God, they just get upset about it. And I'm done with it. There's an article on Cinema Blend about Chris Pratt. And basically, people are mad at Chris Pratt for going out on Instagram and telling people to vote for his movie Onward, I believe, in some stupid Emmy Award nomination thing. I think it's Emmys. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not Emmys. Maybe. I don't know. I don't watch these awards. It's the People's Choice Award. I'll just read you guys his post. And you tell me if it is just so infuriating, if it's problematic. Okay? You tell me. Quote, "With all that's going on in the world, it is more important than ever that you vote. Just ask any celebrity. They will tell you every day, several times a day, to vote. But me, I will tell you exactly who to vote for. Hashtag onward. The heroes before us did not spill their blood only to have their sacrifices wasted by your apathy. Blah, blah, blah." The post goes on to promote his movie and the voting of that movie, Onward, for the People's Choice Awards. So the joke here is that he's making a play on the fact that celebrities every single day of your life are bashing you over the head, telling you to vote for the upcoming American USA whoop whoop presidential election. That's all there is to it. And you know what? That's okay. He's making fun of the fact that that's all anyone's talking about. He's trying to make you think that he might be telling you to go vote in the presidential election and then knocking it off, just joshing around, making a little joke about how actually the only thing you need to vote for is his movie in the People's Choice Awards. And guess what? That's funny. It's funny, okay? And you know what? If it's not funny, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's fine, because it's fine to joke. And you know what? The upcoming presidential election is important. It is incredibly important. All that stuff, all that good stuff, yada, yada, yada. But it's still okay to make jokes about it. It's okay to poke fun. Why are we so serious? I mean, I just have to take a second to defend Chris Pratt, because I think Chris Pratt is just a good old boy. And you know what? I don't care what he did in high school or whatever you want to say about him. I know he's I know he's like a good old boy now. He's all into some religious stuff. More power to him. More power to you if you disagree with him. But guess what? It doesn't matter. Can we just have a moment of sanity here? It doesn't matter. How on earth are you going to utilize this post from Chris Pratt where he's just trying to get some people to vote for his movie for an award? How are you going to use that to talk about how, oh yeah, Chris Pratt is the worst Chris? Like, get a grip, dude. Get a grip. You know who's the worst Chris? I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to tell you who the worst Chris is, okay? It's Chris Evans. Okay, and I have some very well thought out opinions about this. I have thoughts about this. I've been through it. I've written out the pros and the cons. I've got the graphs. I've got the timeline. I've got the sheets taped all over the wall about everything that you need to know about the Chris's, so that you can deduce for yourself who is the best and who is the worst Chris. And all I gotta say is the worst Chris is not Chris Pratt. Okay, I don't know that he's the best Chris. I don't know. He is a very lovable one. He has an important place in the hierarchy of Chris's. But he's not the worst. Because you know who's the worst? Chris Evans. I'm just going to say it. I know I just blurted it out. I was building it up, and then I just spat it out. Chris Evans. Why, you ask? Because he's annoying. He's annoying. Who doesn't find Captain America annoying? I love Captain America. He's still annoying. But I mean, just take one look at Chris Evans's personal life, his Instagram, his Twitter, anything like that. You know what? I agree with him sometimes. I agree with the things he says. Sometimes I don't. It's not about that. He's annoying. You want to know why? Because he just goes onto the internet and farts his opinion into the void and gets mad at people for disagreeing with him. And just for the record, that's nothing like what I'm doing here. I'm not doing that. That's not me at all. Okay. Anyway, whatever. Disregard that. Seriously, though, all jokes aside, it's not a good look for Chris Evans on the regular. And just because a lot of people's biases tend to lend themselves to agreeing with Chris Evans about all the obnoxious, self-righteous bull that he says, doesn't make him a good Chris. Okay? It's not the best Chris. It's not even the best actor Chris. Okay? I think if we were to rank Chris's, you would have to go in tier lists of like what they're good for. You know, I think the best actor Chris is probably Chris Pine. Chris Pine does not get the credit he deserves. And shout outs to Chris Pine for having nothing to do with social media at all. He's not worried about any of this stuff. So, yeah. Chris Pine really takes the cake when it comes to acting and his worth in that realm. You know, I think Chris Pratt is right up there on possibly being the most lovable Chris, because he's just a funny guy. He's a good old boy. You know, you can't really say much more for that. I think he has some good acting ability, but he's not the strongest. He's mostly just comedic, and he's kind of acts in some crappy movies sometimes. Cough, cough. Jurassic World. Did you hear anyone say that? Did you hear it? Did you hear that? No one said that. It was just a figment of my imagination. Jurassic World is not an awful movie that Chris Pratt chose to star in. Anyway, and you know, I'm just going to throw my opinion out there. The Chris that takes the cake to me has got to be Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth is the most lovable Chris. He is a fantastic actor with what I think is some of the most potential in the acting realm, not just as a personality, but as an actor, as a brand as well, he's just one of the most presentable Chris's. He never gets himself into trouble or hot water. He never says anything he's not supposed to, but he also doesn't say things that he's supposed to either. He's just like, you know what? Can you leave me alone? I'm going to look beautiful. I'm going to take off my shirt. I'm going to lift some heavy things and act in some movies that you like. I'm going to be a lovable character. And that's all I want from actors. That's all I want. It's actually not that hard. But yeah, so Chris Hemsworth, best Chris. Okay, can we all agree on that? Best Chris. Worst Chris? Chris Evans. The other two are great guys and they deserve the world. And you know what? All that aside, Chris Evans deserves the world. Either two. I can't talk. Chris Evans deserves the world too. But also, could you stop being less annoying? Stop being so annoying. Less annoying. Stop being. I can't talk today. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that I can't talk. This podcast is the Can't Talk podcast. Alex Courtwright can't talk. Plaster it on the billboards. Anyway, not to spend too much time just blabbering about Chris's, but this stuff gets me heated. What can I say? In other news, everything in existence has been delayed. And it sounds like I am being dramatic or exaggerating a bit, but I'm really not. Seriously, every movie that will ever be made for the rest of forever has been delayed due to COVID. Due to COVID-19, the apocalypse has been delayed until 2021. Seriously, what is going on with these theaters and this industry? It is the saddest thing. The one that got me the hardest right off the bat, as you guys know if you've been watching the channel, is Dune. Oh my God. I thought that the new Dune movie was going to be the theater's saving grace of the year, and not only did we get a delay, we got a delay until, I think October? Yes. October 2021. What are we doing here? I thought we were going to live through this whole COVID-19 nightmare, and it's fine. We can stay safe. We can keep the theaters closed down for a few months, but they've got to open back up at some point. And just as they're starting to open back up, at least where I live, I'm pretty sure they opened up last weekend, the news hits that pretty much all the studios are pulling their upcoming movies out. And they're pushing everything even further back. I wouldn't be surprised if we see even more and more cancellations. Everything's going to get pushed back even more over the next month or two. I'll be surprised if one single blockbuster or big name movie comes out in theaters by Christmas. And I don't know. I just need a bit of a moment of silence for that, because these are dark times. That's all I can say. Dark times. 2021. I was I've been checking out the theaters and their schedules and what we have to look forward to for a few weeks. And I was just you know what? This movie's getting canceled, but at least we have Dune in December. This movie's getting canceled, but at least we have Dune in December, etc., 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 etc. And now, what do we have? We have nothing. Has the new James Bond movie been delayed yet? Probably. I feel like I saw that somewhere. Everything has. The Batman has been delayed. Speaking of which, I've seen some rumors floating around about Robert Pattinson being hard to deal with on set or something. There's some problems on set with the Batman involving Robert Pattinson, and weird. I refuse to believe it. I think Robert Pattinson is an angel. If you know me, I think that Robert Pattinson is an angel, and if he's done anything to anyone on set, just a heads up, they deserved it. Okay? That's the official Alex Courtwright stance. That's the Courtwright cast stance on Robert Pattinson. If he has bothered anyone, pissed anyone off, punched a production member, they deserved it. It's fine. Moving on. Keep shooting. Just keep shooting. But yeah, I am deeply, deeply saddened by all the news that has come out about all these cancellations and pushbacks of movies, because what am I going to do? God, books, movies, this is my life. Like, everything keeps getting pushed back. And what's killing me is all these people I know are okay with it. Well, they're not just okay with it, but they're okay with waiting for these movies to come to Netflix or whatever their streaming service is. They're okay with the movies coming, or not just coming then, but for movies to not get theatrical releases at all, for these movies to come out and to just watch them on their little 32-inch TV at home, while they can listen to dogs barking outside and their neighbors having sex, while they stare at their phone and scroll through Twitter. That's how we watch movies now. And the one place that you can, I get it. I'm guilty of it too, to an extent. I mean, I go out of my way to have a big TV, have a nice sound system, but I get it. I still check out my phone a little bit when I watch movies at home. I'm not going to pretend to be holier than thou here, but come on, the theater is the one experience where you can get away from that. You can immerse yourself in the theater experience. You can get lost in a movie. You can pay attention. You can notice the small details. You can really analyze what's going on. The theater is the last chance to do that. And it really scares me how okay a lot of the public seems to be with just moving on from theaters. Like, I feel like a lot of people are just like, who cares? Who needs them? It's overpriced. Don't want to pay for all that popcorn, expensive movie ticket, all that stuff. What's even worse is that I fear that even if movie theaters survive, the only properties that are going to make it to the theaters are going to be the blockbusters. It's going to be the Marvel movies, the Disney movies. We're not going to get to see the indie movies, the smaller one-off, low-budget flicks, the cinematic experiences that not everyone enjoys. The ones that flop, the Blade Runner 2049s. We're not going to get to see those movies in theaters. And if there was one movie that could come back and remind everyone how important it is to go to the theaters to see a movie, we just got Tenet. Christopher Nolan's Tenet is the most exemplary film of exactly why we need theaters and why movies were meant to be watched on the big screen. Like, come on, guys. Like, we can't just let it go without a fight. I don't know. I know it's depressing, but I don't have much hope for that industry. I mean, obviously, movies are going to continue to come out. I mean, we're all Americans. We're fat vegetables. All we care about doing is watching TV, just vegetating and laying around and consuming entertainment. But I don't know that the way the entertainment is going is the right one. I just don't. Like, seriously, go out of your way to, if you've got the money. I know not everyone has the money to go to the theater or doesn't value that kind of thing, but if you do, you really got to make an effort to go out and go see a movie in the theater. I know it's hard. You don't always have time, but like it's worth it. You deserve the experience. You'll enjoy the experience. And there are a lot of people out there that don't want to see this experience become less and less common. They don't want to see it fade away into obscurity or into luxury. So it is a sad time, but alas, we will wait to see the best movies of what should have been probably summer this year until 2021. And who knows? I mean, with the way that they're acting about coronavirus, it wouldn't surprise me if they run this shindig all the way through to 2022. I mean, it'll be October 2021 and we'll just be like, oh, look, delayed again. We're going to delay the next film for the next 5 years. The Batman doesn't come out until 2030. I mean, at this point, like, it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but where is the lie? I mean, seriously, where's the lie? But anyway, it is definitely a sad time for cinema. It's a sad time for everything. I know with everything going on with COVID and all that has been lost, it is a little bit probably insensitive to only lament the struggles of the billion-dollar movie industry. But it is a sad time for everyone and everything involved. And if we don't get things opening up soon and start going back to normal life, it's going to get darker. It's going to get even darker. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we get things straightened out and we can all go back to life as we know it as soon as possible. I think it would be beneficial. A question that I have prepared for you faithful listeners here. I've thought a lot about this one, and it's a really important question that I have for you because I cannot, for the life of me, figure this one out. I need help. My question is, do you guys think that James Cameron knows that nobody cares about Avatar anymore? Do you guys think that James Cameron knows about this? Because I think he might not know. I think he might think that people want more Avatar movies. I mean, if you look at the schedule, this man has got Avatar movies lined up for like a decade, it feels like. I'm pretty sure the last I heard he was doing 4 Avatar movies. And not only this, a lot of people, it seems like you would think that maybe he's just sitting back, just taking his time with these movies. But like, as far as I can tell, he's like working day and night all the time, shooting these movies, actively working on them. And you know what? I'm not a director. I don't know the ins and outs of the industry and the scheduling process and how long it's actually taken them to shoot things and just how visionary his project is. I'll admit, I don't know the ins and outs, but I will say that what on earth is he doing? What is he doing? This man has been dedicating what seems like his entire life to creating these Avatar movies since the first Avatar film came out. And, we've got to talk about that film. We've got to talk about Avatar. The original Avatar film came out and it made a lot of money. It made a ton of money. So much money that it convinced James Cameron that he needed to make like 4 more movies. It might have been in his plan originally to do a lot of these movies. I don't know. I don't follow the man that much. I'm going to be honest. I don't know many people that do. Like, this man is riding off of past success harder than any other director, it feels like. That's probably not true, but whatever. We're saying it. It's the position we're sticking with. But so Avatar comes out and it's a huge success. Everyone in the world goes to see it. But what's weird is that after like 2 weeks, everybody stops talking about it. If you go back and if you just ask one of your peers, talk to a friend, ask them if they remember that movie. They don't remember it coming out, probably. But like, do you remember what happened in that movie? Do you remember wanting to know what would happen next? Do you remember thinking, this is the coolest world ever with just some great characters and actors and an overarching story that is unique and engaging, and I just can't wait to see what happens next? Because I don't think I've met anyone. No one says that. In fact, I would like to find, after I finish shooting this podcast, I'm going to go online. I'm going to try and find me some Avatar fanboys because I'm betting myself that they don't exist. Like, where are these people that are telling James Cameron that they can't wait to see another film? Like, I am interested in James Cameron making more films. I'll say that. But why Avatar? Like, he could have made like 3 more fantastic films in the time that it's taken him to get to Avatar 2, which I'm pretty sure is still nowhere in sight. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, you know what? I'll give them a chance. And this is what he's banking on. And this is why I'm part of the problem. Because I'll probably go see that movie in theaters. Not because I want to, but I mean, why not? I'll check it out. I'll see what it's about. So that's fine. You can tell me in the comments, Alex, you're part of the problem. If you're going to complain about these movies, if you're going to critique people like James Cameron for thinking that people will go see these movies, You're part of the problem because you're going to see them. Really, you should vote with your money and just not see them. You're right. I should. But I'm not. I'll see what it's about. And you know what? If the second one falls just as short as the first one, then I'll boycott the rest. And, you know, my vote will entirely sway James Cameron into not filming any more of them. I'm sure that will be the case. He'll never make another Avatar film, and he'll go back to doing things that people actually care about. But I'm just, you know, I bring this up because there are articles that float around on these websites. Like Cinema Blend posts an article titled Avatar 2 is changing the Na'vi in an interesting way. And this article about how James Cameron posts like a picture. He posts like a picture of like him on set of Avatar 2, and he's got this guy doing some like sign language thing, and they're like, we're changing up the Na'vi species or people or whatever they are. I don't even remember, but we're changing them up and in this way where they're going to have this new form of communication that's like a sign language, and it's being designed for the whole, like it's being designed from the bottom up, just like Tolkien designed his languages. And this is just, James Cameron's such a genius. He's going to make this language that's got to be important to the film. And it's an authentic sign language for ways for the Na'vi to communicate. And I'm just like, when did journalism become so pathetic? Like, who got paid or just thought it was a good idea to like, they're just like, I'm sure the public can't wait to find out what's going on set of Avatar 2. The public can't wait. The movie that no one's talked about since the third day after it came out like 15 years ago. It's just like, sure, you know what? Avatar 1 was vaguely entertaining. I get it. There was a gimmick. The whole movie was a gimmick. It was this whole thing where it was like, we are going to do the most cutting edge motion capture CGI film that we possibly can. And they did that. And it was impressive for all of about 5 minutes. I think it was impressive for about 5 minutes. And then it became whatever. And here we are, like 10 years later, maybe more. I don't know. I don't even remember when it came out. We're here so much later. And not to say that CGI or our visual ability with movies is better, but isn't it? Like, isn't this, like, does Avatar, is it still impressive today? I won't comment on that because I haven't seen the film since it came out. Because no one cares. Because it wasn't a movie that you watch again. It's not a movie you have to figure out. It's not a movie with a message that's incredibly important. It's literally, it's like CGI Pocahontas on like some alien world in some blue forests. Like, no, like this was not an award-winning movie. Like, this was not an Oscar-nominated performance by anyone. So, like, I'm just, whoever's giving James Cameron all this money or however he's getting it and putting it, I mean, the guy's a good director. I'll give him that. But I'm just so confused as to who is blowing so much steam his way that he really just wakes up every day and is like, I can't wait to work on Avatar 2. Avatar 2, 3, and 4. They're going to be, people are going to love these movies. It's going to be the next Avengers. Like, I don't know. People only go out for these franchise movies in the theaters anyway. Like, I feel like people went to the theaters more back then when Avatar came out. Like, I don't feel like Avatar 2 can mirror the success of Avatar 1. Maybe just because it's been so long since the first one's come out, that if enough of these journalists hype it up and tell people to go watch it and like give it all these fake really good reviews, that maybe the public will be like, oh, James Cameron, that's a good name, and well, that movie was really, really, really big. Let's see what all the hype's about. Let's see what he's been doing for the last 100 years. Maybe that's why we go out and check it out. That's exactly why I'm going to go check it out when it comes out. So what can I say? I'll check it out. But I just want to know, like, back to my question. I want you to answer. Who's telling James Cameron that this is a good idea? What makes him think that this is the magnum opus? And you know what? If this is his passion project and he's made enough money in his life to do whatever he wants. I'm not saying he can't do that, but it is weird to me when I see these articles come out and I'm just like, do we have to pretend? You know, it's one thing for him to just make the films. He's got the money. He wants to hire some people to dance around in blue costumes for 10 years. That's fine. But like, why do we all have to pretend to live in that world? I guess that's all I'm asking, but oh well. You know what, James Cameron, I hope that you're having a great time, and I really hope that you make some really great movies. I hope, more than anything, that Avatar 2 is a lot better than the Pocahontas with blue people ripoff that Avatar 1 was. Okay? So, while I'm into the scathing reviews, in other news, okay, why are we getting a live action Lion King sequel? Can somebody explain that to me? I'm full of questions today, as you can see. And you know what? This should have been expected. It was probably in the pipeline before the original live action Lion King was made. So it should be expected. I'm sure it should be something that is expected, but I just can't help but be baffled. You know, I should learn to live in the times that we do. I should be ready. I should be prepared to hear this kind of information, but I can't help myself. When I see someone say, like, an article like Disney's live action The Lion King is getting a sequel, and they've signed a pretty interesting director for this project, I just can't help but just look and just be like, what? Why? What are you doing? And you know what? I know what they're doing. I do. They want money. But why do you keep giving it to them? You guys keep giving them all this money to make them think that more of these movies is what we need. And I blame you. Seriously, where do we get this idea that The Lion King needs a shot-for-shot CGI remake that looks real, where we take all of the original charm that the original had out? We take it all out and we stuff it with this lifeless garbage and then fart it out to the public, and then you guys eat it up. And Disney's just like, wow, they love it. Make some more garbage. Hey, feed those people some more garbage. They need some garbage, okay? Hey, we got a garbage shortage here at the AMC theater. Can you bring some more garbage down? The people they're rabid. They're outside the doors. They're beating to come in. It looks like The Walking Dead. Like, I don't get it. And you know what? Maybe I'm just a man from another time. Maybe I just wasn't meant for this time. But come on, can't we do better? This goes to the, you did one. They did one movie. And I know that this is Hollywood. If you do one movie and people like it, then what are we going to do? We're going to make more of it. We can't just let it sit. We can't just move on. We can't do something new. We have to make more of it. And you know what? I don't blame them for that. I just blame you for telling them that it's a good idea by shoveling your cash into their furnace. Okay? That's it. I just blame you. I blame me. I've done it a few times. But I will say, I am actively avoiding giving my time and money to these garbage live action remakes of beloved classics. I am. I did watch, back when it came out, the Jungle Book movie that they did, the old classic remake that they did. And I thought that movie was actually pretty decent. I do like the director. I did like some aspects of it. I didn't love it, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I can say that. But I don't think I've watched any of them since. I didn't watch Cinderella. I didn't watch Beauty and the Beast. I didn't watch Lion King. And I have yet to watch Mulan. And, I just can't give my money to it. I have to vote with my money. I just can't do it anymore. I can't support this stuff because it's gross. It's like, just look at the Mulan live action remake that just came out. And you know what? I'm going to go off the cuff and say some things that are assumptions about the movie that, because I haven't seen the movie, might not seem like they're grounded in truth, though I'm fairly confident that they are. But just be forewarned, I have not watched the movie. What I can say is that the live action Mulan movie did not look good. It did not look good and it did not sound good. After seeing production and the things that went into it and the choices that they made, it did not sound like a good idea. There's no version of Mulan that I want to watch that does not include Mushu. It's all right. There's no version of Mulan that I want to see that doesn't include the famous songs from the original Mulan. You can't take everything, all the character and life out of these original films and then paste some like random normal looking person into those roles, change up everything that people loved, and then expect it to sell. Now, I get that for some reason you guys go out and watch these movies still, but it's just so disrespectful to the original. It's disrespectful to the original. Like, just flat out. Why are we doing this? Why are we letting them do this? Like, okay, here's one thing. I don't like it, but I would allow this. If they wanted to make a film that was, say, set after the original events of Mulan, if they wanted to make a film like that and take it in a different direction and get rid of some of the old aspects or set a different tone to it, make it a different type of movie and do a live action, like, oh, it's 10 years later and Mulan has changed and this is a gritty, dark samurai thriller. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they'd want to do. But if they wanted to do something different that moves the plot forward, taking place after or even before the events of the first movie, then while I don't know that I would like it, I don't know that I would still support it, but I could at least understand what they're going for. Does that make sense? I could understand what they're going for. But the way that we do it now, where we're just like, it's going to be a remake. We're just going to call it, Mulan, that movie that you liked. Well, Mulan is coming out again, but it's with actors that look like people. It's not cartoons. This isn't artistic in any way, shape, or form. It's actually just some people, and it looks like it's a film that looks like it was made for TV. And even though it's probably going to make us millions and millions of dollars, it looks like we didn't put any money into it at all. Like we got a bunch of amateurs to make it. Because, sorry, that's my opinion. Mulan looks like from the trailers, it was made by amateurs. And you know what? If the trailer slapped, if the trailer had slapped when it came out, if it was a really sick trailer, maybe I would have been like, ooh, that's a tough one. Maybe I should check it out. What if they do a good job? I still don't condone it, but what if they do a good job? Maybe I'll sneak it in. Maybe I'll sneak a watch in and I'll check it out. But they didn't. The trailer looks awful. I can't believe people went to see the movie after seeing the trailer. It looks like it was shot for TV. Not just shot for TV. It looks like it was shot for like Hulu or some old cable network. This isn't an HBO Max film. It's just, and I can say that. I can say all these things without having watched the movie. And I thought maybe I could be wrong. But then the movie came out. And then pretty much every single YouTuber that I respect, and even a lot that I probably don't or don't even know about, came out and just absolutely trashed the movie. And I know that the audience scores for the movie on Rotten Tomatoes are okay, but nobody cares what the audience says. Okay, sorry, nobody cares what everyone says. Rotten Tomatoes, not even no one cares about what everyone says. Rotten Tomatoes is not the place to get your reviews. So Rotten Tomatoes aside, if you go on YouTube, you can find all sorts of reviews, deconstructions, and analysis videos of Mulan that just rip it apart. And they rip it apart for all the reasons that I stated going into it. And then they include the spoilers, which I have looked into. I know what happens in the movie. I have gone all the way into the spoilers, despite having not seen the movie. I know all of the events that take place and the changes that they made, and they're not good ones. They're not good ones. All of these people analyzing on YouTube, wherever, posting their reviews that are giving them these awful reviews to this movie, it all makes sense. I mean, I can say that without having watched the movie, maybe there's a chance in hell that I would enjoy it. No, probably not. Probably not. But I mean, I don't know. It's tiring. It's tiring. I just don't want to support this type of thing because it's just so deeply uncreative. I feel like it is not made with the spirit of cinema. I just feel like it's made with the spirit of someone who's got a lot of money at Disney. And you know what? There's an argument to be made for the fact that that's what everything is these days. You know, when you commoditize art this way and you turn everything into big business, this is what you get. So, you know, maybe this is just the poison that we have to take to have a good time, to be able to make livings off of art. But I just can't help but feel like I wish it wasn't the case. And, you know, while we're talking about these sequels and remakes and cash grab types of moves, can we take a second to talk about the fact that they have already announced that The Boys is getting a spin-off series? Now, this is one that I don't quite understand because I'm not going to continue harping on the same points to the T that I have been with the previous topics. The one that I don't understand about this is that are any spin-off series actually successful? Like, are there any that have ever like really done that great or surpassed the original? Like, so let's roll back a little bit. The Boys is working. They've announced that they're working on a spin-off series that's, I think it's vaguely about a college type of place for superheroes, young adults who are superpowered, and it's a college for them that's probably going to be run by the Vought Corporation. So make a TV show about that. And you know what? It might be good. That's not what this is about. It might be good because The Boys is a pretty good show. I think you can trust the people behind the property maybe to do a decent job handling another show set in the same universe. But it's just really odd to me because, yes, you know, you don't want them to overstay their welcome to begin with. You don't want The Boys to overstay their welcome and do 5 billion seasons. I just realized this blind has been out of place for this entire podcast, and that's gonna bother me a lot. Anyway, but so the Boys can go on for like 7 seasons. They could try and milk it for all it's worth. I'd prefer they don't do that, but I'd rather that than a spin-off series, if that makes sense. I mean, and you know what? I'm not saying that they can't carve a new path, that they can't prove something for a spin-off series. But it's just interesting that that's the direction that they choose to go. Like, well, season 1 did pretty good. And season 2 is just popping off. People are loving it. The show's getting big. So naturally, let's just dump a few $1 trillion into a spinoff series. Instead of making the series itself bigger and better or capitalizing on it more, we're just going to make a spinoff series. And I just don't understand where the logic for that comes in because I'm trying to think, and maybe I just haven't seen them. So maybe I'm wrong on this, but what spin-off series has been that successful? Like, I'm trying to think. Thinking over to The Walking Dead. Like, The Walking Dead did a spin-off series called, I think it was Fear of the Walking Dead. And, like, did anybody watch that? Like, I don't recall anybody watching that. I don't recall that making the news or, like, becoming a cultural phenomenon or being really that successful. Like, now, I mean, maybe it just made some money. Maybe it made money and it's keeping people's jobs and their salaries are getting paid. So maybe it's worth just doing because just it's more room for these people, these artists to play in the playground that is the universe. And that's enough. Maybe it doesn't have to be big. But as like studio executives, it's just kind of weird to me that that's the decision that they decide to make with one season. They've had one full season of The Boys, and then they make this decision as soon as they step into season 2. Now, season 2 did just end this weekend, so technically it's 2 seasons. But anyway, not relevant to my topic. It's just, it's very odd that that's the decision they make. We've had like Fear of the Walking Dead. I watched that. It wasn't as good as the original Walking Dead. It just wasn't. The production wasn't there. The acting wasn't there. The story wasn't there. It was all right, but it wasn't really anything to write home about. All these spinoff series and these kind of cinematic universes that I think isn't it the WB maybe that has they've tried to do with superheroes like the Flash and all those random superheroes that I can't even remember the names of that get these TV shows that are all really cheesy and low budget. And like, does anyone watch those either? Are those like hits? Are those big hits? Like, I'm sure some people do watch them. I guess there's some people that for some reason still watch cable maybe, but I struggle to really understand it, I guess. I'm just not, I don't get it. I mean, even look at Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is trying to do spinoffs. I've heard them talk about doing spinoffs of the original series, like going back and like doing like old Targaryens and stuff like that. I think they're casting for that. They might even be in production. I don't know. I don't follow it. I don't follow anything Game of Thrones anymore because, well, we all know why. We saw that last season and we won't forget. So maybe they should take a step back and just reshoot the entire last season before you start doing spinoffs. But yeah, they're jumping into spinoffs. And you know what? A Game of Thrones spinoff is probably one of the most interesting ones because if they go back like a couple hundred years and they're still in George R.R. Martin's world, then there's a good chance that there's a lot of rich story to be told there that wouldn't feel like a crappy prequel where you know what happens beforehand. You know, it probably wouldn't feel like some low budget spinoff if HBO is doing it, and it is a spinoff prequel type of thing. But I still don't know that I'm in love with the idea of it. I'm just not big on it. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Like, especially because can't you just go forward? I mean, I know George R.R. Martin's never going to finish writing the series, but like, couldn't you just go forward? Like, pay Martin a bunch of money to like give you a plot outline to happen like 50 years after the events of the final season of the original Game of Thrones series. And like talk about the grandchildren of all the old characters or something. Like do something, move forward. I'm tired of going backwards. I'm tired of going adjacent, like going across the road. Why don't we just move forward? Like when we're doing spinoffs, when we're doing sequels, when we're doing these cash grab property type of things where we're trying to expand the universe, stop going sideways. And why don't we just go forward? Like keep the story tight, expand on what we already have. I don't know. I just, I'd watch like 5 more seasons of The Boys easy. And then, I mean, I'd probably watch a series that's set after The Boys finishes. But I don't know that I care about a series that's about superheroes in college. And I'm sure they'll make it funny. I'm sure they'll make it gritty and explosive and I'm sure they'll have really creative ways to kill people and there will be plenty of heads that explode. But for me, it's just like, I can get excited for The Boys, but a spinoff about college superheroes, no, I don't know. Not excited. I'll watch it, and maybe that's what they know. They know that they don't need us to be excited. They just need us to say, I'll check it out. And then by doing that, we play right into their hands. They get what they want. But what can you do? I mean, when it's money like that, when it's Hollywood doing their thing, what can we as average consumers who just enjoy having a place to escape do. I don't know. But anyway, that's enough movie talk. I'm not really going to get into much book talk today. I will say just a little update for those of you who have made it this far into the podcast on some of my more personal work. I am moving along quite quickly with the writing and working on book 2 in a trilogy that I'm currently working on, in which book 1 is complete. And I'm trying to finish the trilogy before moving to publication or trying to get something like that out. But I have been plotting like a madman this week. So just a little update on that. And just to say, you know, I know there's always a debate about being a plotter in writing and versus a gardener. I think it's George R.R. Martin that calls them that. The people who kind of fly by the seat of their pants when writing versus the people that plot out their novel heavily before beginning to write the prose. I am the latter. I plot out the novel fairly heavily. And just to let you guys kind of see a little window into the process that I use, I can't say it's the best process ever, but it really works for me. And the first thing I will tell you to do is use a program. I wrote my first 2 novels, which will probably never see the light of day because I was really just learning what was going on at that point in time. I wrote them with Microsoft Word, which is fine. There are tons of giant authors that do that, but man, using a program like Scrivener is so much better. It just makes everything a lot easier, especially if you're an organizer. If you're an organizer who likes to keep a lot of extra information, not just the prose, it's just invaluable. So I know that sounds like an ad for Scrivener. Hey, Scrivener, if you want to sponsor this podcast, this YouTube channel, hit me up. But I really enjoy using Scrivener. I've thought about even making a video for you guys in the future about kind of how I lay things out when it comes to working on a novel in terms of like organization and things like that. I don't know. It seems like something that would be interesting, but yeah, I've been working on the plotting. I haven't begun prose writing for this novel, but I've been working on the plotting tirelessly, and it is moving along at a breakneck pace, and I'm really happy with where it's going. What I do is I begin with something I call the brain fart, which is where I open up a document and I pretty much just puke up words of ideas and things about what I want the story to go. I start with some ideas about, like, I already know in my head just some major plot points I want to hit, kind of where the novel is going to go. And then I start at what would be chapter 1, and I just say, the novel will begin with blah, 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 blah. And then I just try and tell the story off the top of my head, obviously thinking deeply about it. I don't just spit out anything that comes to mind, but I just kind of think about a linear cycle of events for the novel. And I just walk them through. I walk through those events in about, I don't know, maybe like 1,000 words in a document. And I just kind of spit it all out and get to the end. And that's not exactly how the novel comes out in terms of the way it's plotted, but it really gets me a strong kind of very strong kind of also very flimsy framework for the plotting to begin. And then where it really gets interesting, and what I think is most useful, is I make a storyboard type of document in which I basically make sub-documents. I make a folder that has sub-documents of each act of the story. So for Act 1, I will just start with numbered beats, and it will go through from what would be chapter 1 to like chapter 15, whatever the parts where it's going to divide up. And I'll just go in depth, in detail, and write scenes, write out, loose scenes. I don't write dialogue. I don't write anything. These are documents that are like 1,000, 2,000 words, but just kind of laying out exactly where I think the story is going to go. And I get a good pass of that across all the acts. I have Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3, and they all have these numbered beats that tell what I'm planning to write. And that's really how I plot it out. And I try to make it look like a true storyboard, kind of like they would in the movies, where I'm just telling what's going to happen in each scene, because it really helps me to write later. When it comes to writing prose, I can change things up in the prose if I lean a different way or have a new idea. But it really helps me to have a scaffolding that allows me to focus on making the prose the best that it can be, so that I don't have to come back later and throw away some great pages because the plotting and the logistics of whether or not that scene needed to exist, I don't have to worry about that kind of thing. So that's just a little bit of a window into my writing process. I get all that written out, and then I have separate little documents for all the characters, all the places, all the things I need to know. Just kind of lists of things so that I can reference them. And it has like characters and what color their eyes are, what's their backstory, obviously their names. Everything's just sort of organized that way, so that when it's time to start writing prose, I'm ready to go. I'm ready, and I have everything that I need so that my brain can focus on the words alone. And I think that's really, really helpful for me. And like I said, if you're a pantser, then you're someone who, likes to fly by the seat of your pants, then you can completely disregard this. This might not be for you, but I think these are some good ideas, and it's a really good way to get started if you're not really sure how to begin plotting. And, I say this because some people plot just super extensively in such detail, and I'll say I don't do that. I get kind of detailed, but I leave a lot of room to move. And I think it's a good kind of medium between allowing myself some room to get creative and to change things up on the fly, and really leave the room for that spark when I'm writing, so that I can stay motivated and into it, while also not having to divert my emotional energy and my creative energy to trying to write beautiful and professional level prose, while also just wondering like what's even going to happen next. It's very helpful when you're writing prose to try and get it right, or as close to right as you possibly can the first time. If you have an idea, if you have a strong written out idea of what you're getting into. That's just my opinion on it. After that, it's also helpful to, and you can go as in-depth as you want on this and make even more documents like this, but I'll just make a little document called The Philosophy of the Story, in which I'll just take the main characters and even some of the sub-characters. You can go as in-depth as you want on this, and I'll just write out what that character's philosophy for the book is going to be, what their main motivations are going to be, what their arc is going to be, what the point of their arc is going to be, so that I really, it's harder to get off track, because sometimes you can be writing and you can have characters go in directions that you didn't really mean to, or you can kind of lose the spirit of what you originally wanted the novel to be. And that might be okay. It might come out better that way in the end. You might want to change that, but it's nice to kind of have something to fall back on and be like, let me look back. Okay, would this character do this here? This is how I wanted them to be. This is the end that I was heading for. And does what I'm writing now accommodate that? So yeah, just some, this isn't a tutorial video, but just some ideas on how I think you can loosely plot. And you can go as in detail as you want, or keep it broad picture. I think Scrivener is a great tool for doing that. And that's how I do it. I'm really just letting you guys have an update on, if for those of you that actually make it this deep into the podcast, you guys are the real ones. So that's what I've been working on. It's going incredibly well. I'm working my butt off on it while trying to juggle like 40 hours of YouTube work into the mix in the weeks, but it's going, and my brain is frying, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm incredibly inspired and happy to talk about it. I'm excited to talk about it, so I can't wait until I can get to a point where I can start publishing some of these things, which I definitely plan to do. And I've been blabbing long enough. I'm pretty sure this episode has gone over an hour. This will be the first episode over an hour, so woohoo, we made it. We did an over an hour episode. That actually wasn't my intention. I didn't want to do that. I'm trying to keep this under an hour, but when you're a talker like me, what can you do? But anyway, this has been the Courtright Cast. I will stop talking your ear off. Be sure to like this video and subscribe. Or if you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever your podcasting platform, 5-star reviews change my life. How's that for you? You want to change my life? Leave a 5-star review and subscribe to the podcast because it seriously makes my day. It's what I do this for. It tells me that you guys enjoy the content that I'm making, and it motivates me to just make even more. And the more times you guys subscribe, the more reviews you leave, the more likes you drop, the more comments you drop on the videos, on the channel, on the podcast, the more I'm going to make for you guys, because it just makes me want to do even more. It makes me enjoy this process even more. So thank you guys for the support so far, especially if you made it to the end of this podcast. And otherwise, have a great day. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode.